Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Jesse Bayer, Abundant Living Ecuador, joined today by Ricardo Nunez. I'm excited for this interview. This is another episode in our ongoing professional spotlight series. Ricardo has a really interesting background that we're going to get into today. He teaches at the local university in Loja. He's a ecologist, biologist. I'm probably messing that up a little bit. We're going to get to it in a second. Lived in Germany for a number of years as well. His wife, Katya, am I saying that right? Katya. His wife, Katya, is actually a holistic dentist here in Vilcabamba. So a lot of people use her as a great resource here for dental work. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. First of all, Ricardo, I appreciate you taking the time. Welcome to the channel. How's things?
Great. I'm doing great. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, of course.
Very, very glad that you invited me. Thanks.
Excellent. No, thanks for coming. We actually worked together for a brief time some years back. So I've known Ricardo probably how long do we know each other? 4 or 5 years, maybe a little less, 3.
I'm not so sure, but
Yeah.
I think it's around
Something like that. At that time, you had been back in the country not very long from Germany. I think
it was
when
in
we first met.
2020. I remember.
2020. Okay, so about 4 years ago.
And, I was looking for a job, and then fortunately, I found you. I met you. Yeah.
So let's jump in a little bit to your background first. So where'd you grow up? And give me, what was your family life like? Tell me a little bit about that.
I'm born in Loja.
Mhm.
I'm a Lojano.
The city or the province?
In the city.
Okay.
Yeah, in the city. I'm born in Loja. But then my mother was also, she was an English teacher. Well, a couple of years I was living in Macas, in the Morena Santiago province.
Macas from Loja is what, 3-4 hours, something like that?
No, it's more. It's long.
more.
It's long.
Oh, Macas in the Orient. Sorry, you're about
Amazon.
8 hours.
Next to
or so,
Zamora Chichip.
Yeah, that's Tena, Macas, Puyo, like all those towns.
Exactly. Yeah, it's around 8 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours.
Yeah.
And with the bus, it's even more.
Okay.
Yeah. So a couple of years there, and until I was 8 years old, and then we had to move again because of life situations, and my mother found another job in Zamora.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my life went on, and I'm practically grown in the Amazon, Zamora.
In Zamora.
All the teenager years, and then for the university, I had to go back to Loja.
Okay.
For university.
Okay. So
in short.
Yeah. So the Orient, which is the Amazonian region, Loja, kind of split time between the two. So you finished college in Loja. Was that at La Técnico, La U? Or?
Yeah, national.
At the National
where
University.
I'm teaching now,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm working right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the National University in Loja. That's pretty much all the way south in the city, close to kind of where you come into the city from this side, from Vilcabamba, where we're recording this now.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And then after college, what was your degree in, and then what did you do after college?
After college, and I immediately applied for a scholarship program. It was called Alban. Now that it doesn't exist anymore, this program. And I always had this connection, with ecology in the Amazon. Having grown up there in the Amazon, I always was inclined to study engineering solutions, and to know very well what's going on, first in the ecosystem, and then to try to find solutions, but based on the ecology.
Mm-hmm.
So I read a very interesting program on ecotechnologies, and then I decided to apply. By the time I was already learning some English, and I was able to have some conversations, and then fortunately, everything.
That scholarship that you were applying for, that was some sort of like international program, or what was that?
Yeah, international program in Holland.
In Holland. Oh, that's what brought you to Europe.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. What was your degree in?
I made a couple of courses there on integrated water management.
Okay.
On microbasin as a unit, of study.
Okay.
And then I kept studying in Germany, another program, but more like a technological. Yeah.
Okay. And did you live in Holland for a while then?
3 years.
3 years. And then moved to Germany after that?
I moved to Germany. I learned the language because the program I wanted to study in Germany was in 2 languages.
Okay.
So I needed some time. I
What?
got a
Sorry, in
couple
German
groups.
and English, or German
Yeah,
and okay.
German and English. So yeah, and then I got accepted for the program in Germany, and
Yeah.
then I got my degree in
What
Germany.
was
My master is from Germany. My
okay,
degree.
and that was
Yeah,
in what?
but
What was your master's in?
it's ecological engineering.
Ecological
Ecological
engineering. Okay.
engineering. It's about all, like I said, eco technologies,
Mhm.
which try to, because environmental technology is very expensive, because we buy it, and in Ecuador, there's not so much good project which can show you really the application of this technology, because it's high tech and it's very very expensive. In Germany, you can see a lot of it. But the point of this, the objective of this master was to try to design technologies based on the context of the location where you are trying to improve
Okay.
or to find the solutions.
Okay.
So cost effective and easy to apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like sort of, Earth, the environment is a passion
Yeah.
of yours. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
It is.
what was kind of the impetus for you to get into studying, was it not bioengineering, ecological
Ecological
engineer um,
engineering.
engineering. Were you trying to, were you interested in sort of, kind of saving the earth kind of idea, or are you just trying to help people, or is it just sort of you like nature? What was kind of, what made you approach that subject or be passionate about that subject?
Yeah, especially that point to try to solve problems related to the environment, but also to try to show the richness we have here.
Hmm.
We are one of the most biodiverse countries on the earth. We are in the list of 17 mega diverse countries on the planet. So yeah, I wanted to be committed, to this, and so I always thought, okay, if I want to contribute, um, I have to learn the more I can.
Okay. So
Uh,
you, sorry.
no, it's okay.
So your plan always was to come back to
Yeah,
Ecuador, work in
yeah,
Ecuador, showcase
yeah.
Ecuador, even when
That's
you.
another point. Yeah,
Mhm.
because many people ask me, why are you so full? You are coming back to from a rich country,
Right.
because the people sometimes living is one thing, experiencing your own flesh. But another thing is hearing only stories. Germany is a great country. No discussion about it. But not everything is perfect,
Sure.
And but I always have this commitment to come back to my country. It's like a kind of let's say I was also built like this. From my family is very, in a way, they love Ecuador. My grandfather was a bit maybe nationalistic
Mhm.
with this direction, but I mean, with love for the
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
for what we had to offer, and kindness.
Mhm.
So yeah, I always wanted to help also to my country, and I think with education, I'm being part of it now, right
Mhm.
now, and I feel very very complete. And when I can, I also guide groups or one persons, tourists
Mhm.
who want to learn from the
Yeah.
environment.
No, and I definitely want to hear about that. Ricardo does some trips into the Amazon and some actually really cool stuff that we'll get into. But it's interesting you brought up sort of your grandfather's pride in his country. That's kind of really for me one of the cool things about this culture is that people here take a lot of pride in where they're from, and that sort of bleeds or that sort of creates an environment where neighbors care about one another, where people kind of do the right thing and treat each other well in many cases because they do care about themselves, their community, their family, their culture. It's really been one of the things that I've enjoyed about living here. And there's a lot of folks, I'm sure from all over the country, but particularly from the Loja region, who go other places and then come back to Loja
Mm.
and kind of have that experience of, yeah, you sure there's more economic opportunity, for example, perhaps in Quito or outside of the country in certain ways. But people miss it. People miss the sort of culture and the life that's available here and come home. It's a common theme you would hear amongst Lojanos.
Yeah, it's like a tendency, like we're losing these values, I guess. What I see is that the new youth is not so proud anymore. It's like, and it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
In every country, like the youth are care more about the other things. In my opinion,
TikTok.
Exactly. You can use also TikTok for good means,
Right.
as a means for good stuff.
Right.
But I think that the values are more superficial every time more and more is growing, you know?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think it's because also the new parents are also different.
Sure.
Are not like the parents who try to keep, these values of loving where you are, showing where you are. Because nationalistic, I think this adjective is sometimes misunderstood. It's not about being nationalistic, like hating your color of your skin or the origin of a foreigner. It's more about, like I said, loving your roots, of course, but also showing what you have. Put it out,
Mhm.
put it out, in a good way. My grandfather was like, he said, oh, many times, like, if I would have the chance to ask God after death where I want to be reborn, I would ask Ecuador again, because for me this is paradise. Doesn't matter if I'm not a millionaire and stuff, but for me it's perfect. It's paradise. I have everything I need here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's different definitions of wealth, and I think
what do you define?
Right.
What do you need?
Absolutely. Yeah, just to sort of orient people. So we're in Vilcabamba, 45 minutes south of Loja. If you're in Loja and you go east, you're into Zamora in about 45 minutes or so, which is sort of the beginning of the Amazonian region. So you go up out of the city, you get very high and sort of the I think they call it, what do they call it? They call it the high Orient.
Páramo.
Yeah.
You mean the páramo?
Yeah.
Yeah, páramo. It's like a tropical moor.
Okay.
You know the word moor?
Yes, but I couldn't define
Moor
it.
is like an ecosystem full of carbon, on the soil.
Okay.
Very rich in carbon and dark soils. It's peatland, like a peatland,
Okay.
but high and tropical.
Yeah.
So the Europeans, and I think you too, in some ecosystems, maybe in the prairies, I think the soil is similar.
Oh,
The
very interesting.
prairies.
Okay.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
United States, you? No,
No,
not yet.
no.
Okay. And the soil is very similar. The characteristics, but the difference here is that it's high.
Right.
It's very high and tropical. It's on the center of the planet.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
Right, and it's very different, right? Like you're in the Sierra, which is Loja, you're the mountains, sort of the Andean region, and then you go east out of Loja, you go up into that, what is it, Páramo?
Páramo.
Yeah, you go up into the Páramo. It gets tropical, it gets cold because the high elevation.
Foggy,
right?
foggy.
And there's just water pouring out of.
Mossy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moss,
Yeah.
moss, lichens.
Right.
But that's the ecology, the ecosystem. That's why it's important.
Yeah.
For the lower areas, because it's like a trap of humidity. You can see it if you want. You can do an experiment. Just take some. I show the tourists sometimes.
Yeah.
I just get some moss and I squeeze it and I show you. It's slowly it's releasing. This water and what we get here.
So is that okay? So is that actually the area where our water comes out of? Really, is that in this region?
Sure.
Okay,
all over the
And
mountains. You can find also moss here. For example, if you go to the waterfall here in Vilcabamba, you can see also the vegetation is changing.
Sure.
It's getting mossy and mossy. The higher you go, and mossy.
Yeah. Interesting, right? And so then, if you come down the other side, now you're fully in the Amazonian region into Zamora, which is a totally different, climate, right? It's tropical. Things grow much larger and more lush. There's tons of water. It's a very different area than where we are, for example, now that has a rainy and a dry season, and water. There's water, but it's not pouring out of every rock and things like that. like it is in the Amazonian region. So I just wanted to orient people a little bit, kind of on those areas where we are.
Mm.
So, okay. So, you learned, it sounds like, a couple of languages in Europe. You finished your master's. You had the intention of coming back to Ecuador. You met your wife as well, correct, in
Yeah,
Germany.
exactly.
And then eventually the two of you moved back home. What was how did that go? Kind of what was that plan and what was that like?
It was related a lot to the children and my family here. I lived in total almost 12 years. So I did my tasks. So I can say it, I can put it that way. Because living in other countries is not always easy. There were naturally times where were hard and getting a job at first with the difficulties of the languages. Because in Germany, you have to definitely have a good level of German if you want to work. It's not like Holland. In Holland, you can use English and live forever.
Oh,
It's
really?
no problem
Okay.
because it has another construction of the society. Holland's very different. The people are more open, I guess, for for all the countries, for all the nationalities. That's why the English is very well spoken everywhere. But in Germany, you have to. English is only in the institutions or universities is spoken,
Mhm.
and outside it's everything in German. So you have to definitely learn the language. So well, being there like I almost spoke German.
Yeah.
In total, uh, 12 years. So we decided to come back more for the children. For the children, I was
Mhm.
working. My last job was with a Cuban. He graduated also at the university where I was studying, and we made a kind of project for river restorations. I was working like 3 years with him doing designs of transects of river restoration. It was great, very what I wanted, what I wanted with GIS, doing some field work, and also sometimes some like institutional cooperation with was all necessary to keep on track this projects. And then, but then we decided more for the kids and for my family here. We all grow old, so I decided we both decided the children also should know well, the part of them, here in Ecuador. The other part, the other part, and also the language, because I was always speaking Spanish to them, but they only were saying like "sí, or "no, no." Yeah, they knew it, they understood it,
Yeah.
but they couldn't really get the sentence complete. So yeah, I decided why not? It's time. We still have energy, so let's make the move.
How many kids do you have?
Two,
Okay.
a couple.
And how old were they when you came back?
They were by the time it was already 3 years in 2020. They were Matilda is already 13, so she was around 9, and in August he was around 7.
Okay.
So
What was that adjustment like for them?
not really. I mean, with the culture, I was also amazed because it worked really fast. Sometimes, at school, maybe Matilda had more like little troubles, like or problems, getting accepted.
Mm.
You know, um,
And just did you guys move? Sorry to interrupt. Just for context, did you guys move right back to Loja, or did you go into the Amazonian region for a while, or where were you set up when you
no,
got back?
it's direct to
To Loja.
straight.
So you're in the city. You're in
Yeah,
Loja. The
yeah.
kids are going public school, private school.
It's a private school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a private school, and on the side of by the side of the foothills, the Andes, it's Zamora Huayco.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice area,
Uh-huh.
green and well, it was
You're not talking about a Malta in the.
A Malta.
Amount.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
it's sort of
Why didn't I say? Why didn't I say
Yeah.
the name of the?
And my
of the
daughter
school?
went there for a brief time. Some friends of mine's kids go there. It's kind of, and you can describe it better than I can, but it's sort of in the middle of this beautiful forest. So it's very
Yeah.
nature is
Nice.
surrounding the school. It's kind of arts based, somewhat Montessori based. One of the good private schools in Loja.
Yeah, that's why, because of the concept, because my kids in Germany, they were also in a school with a similar concept. We wanted this not to interrupt it, because they are used to it. They were used to it, and they liked it, because they make a lot of activities outdoors. Yeah, even mathematics,
Right.
they try to make it, practice into practice. Really nice. I liked it, and orienting also the kids into green how do you call it, subjects. Yeah, because August, for example, my kid, he wants to be a biologist, probably.
Really?
So it was perfect. It fits.
Yeah.
It fits really. It fits really. So they're happy there, but maybe some like frictions, maybe with Matilda had a bit more, maybe because she's very also like a leader. So there were also the kids who had the same person. How do you call it? Character.
Yeah.
Strong. So there were like frictions. Sometimes she was a bit disappointed, but with time now she doesn't complain anymore. She's perfectly there. Great, doing great.
And
Great.
what about for your wife? So your wife's German, correct?
Yeah.
And so she, I assume, lived in Germany most of her life, if not all her life. You met you there. You guys make the decision to come here. Was she good with that? And then what's it been like for her as well? Being here for the last few years.
She always loved Ecuador. Actually, I met her here.
Oh, you met her here?
Long time, yeah.
Oh, years ago.
When
Okay.
I was at university, almost when finishing my studies. And I met her, but well, it was a short relationship. And then I went to Holland, and somehow then we kept contact. And then I went to another city to learn German. It was Lüneburg. It's the name of the small town. And I kept doing courses, and working as an engineer already, because I tried to I did a convalidation my title from here there,
Okay.
because I still didn't have the master. So and I kept contact with her, and then it worked again. And, yeah.
So she already knew the country a bit.
Yeah. She
How
knew
how
that.
many?
She
How
knew.
long had she been here previously?
She was like, she visited me like 3 times. 3 times.
So she was happy to come back. It was
Yeah, always had this connection with. She loved nature also, and the people. And the music.
The music, sort of.
Tropical music.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
You play music as well, don't you? Or is my misremembering
No,
that?
I love rock, but not
For some reason I thought
some
you were.
drums, but not
Oh, you
really.
do?
Like
Okay.
my kid is playing. He's taking lessons on drum set.
And Loja is kind of known for that as well.
Yeah,
as
a lot of music.
sort of arts and culture and music.
We have it in blood, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, a lot of music. My family also. Most every member of my family is fond of some kind of music. We were, when I was already 6 years ago. I knew what was Led Zeppelin, because of my father,
Right.
and my uncle, Pink Floyd, and stuff. So, and in the neighborhood there were always a lot of music.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, you're in your 30s. How old? Do you mind me asking how old you are?
I am 42.
42. Okay. I'm 1 year younger.
Really?
Okay. So you were born in around 81.
81.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you grew up in Ecuador in the 80s and 90s. Then you left for a while. You came back. Talk a little bit about the differences. Like, what was Loja like, when you were a kid versus now?
Loja was, by the time, Well, this aspect of the values probably more, and other people probably were more like more into community. I think it's like a tendency, you know, in the world, like we are getting more separated from each other. I guess it's what I see. Um, it's not a good thing, of course. So I think we had more sense of community back then in the 80s, like even more solidarity. N- Now, you know, there's less, there's more unemployment. I mean, it's everywhere, you know, we are more people. We're more people every time. It's growing and growing. So life in general gets harder for everybody. For everybody, we have to get our chances, and that's what we do. But back then, probably a bit more relaxed in this sense, and probably more solidarity. Like we were like more together. Yeah, because now I don't see. For example, I have many friends from my neighborhood, and I don't see them anymore. Like
Right.
so regular. It's because everybody is just mind their own businesses, and I think we are going to separate. It would be nice to get again this, you know, this sense of community to do things more in group and take care of each other.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because those things that are starting or are changing in Ecuador that you're describing are still so much better than where I come from. It's like
Mm.
it's really some of the things I appreciate about being here. But yeah, how much smaller was Loja then? Was it a large difference, a small difference?
Yeah, definitely. Loja has grown a lot by the west side, I
Uh-huh.
would say, on the direction to La Toma.
Mhm.
All this area of these neighborhoods, like La, no, it's Época,
Mhm.
Tebaida.
Mhm.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It has grown a lot, and also to the south. To the south would be to the north. Sorry,
Mhm.
would be like areas of
Estancia Norte. Yeah.
Motupe. Oh, it's huge. It's growing. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's growing more.
Yeah, because I mean, I even experienced sort of some of that, and I agree with you. I'd kind of like to go back in time on some of these things, but
Hmm.
I experienced some of that sort of quote modernization even just in the 10 and a half years that I've been here. Like when I first got to Loja, there was hardly any traffic lights, almost none. There was very few police around the city. You could park anywhere. There was no sort of like, almost no sort of like trendy stores or trendy kind of shops. And over the last 10 years, all that's changed. There's now a little bit of traffic. There's street lights, throughout the city. There's sort of stores you would expect to see in any metropolitan city in the world. There's more people. It's parking's harder, and it's kind of turning into it's
Mhm.
different, than
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was even in 2013 and 14 and 15 when I got here.
I think we are part of the rat race somehow.
Right.
Also, you know, yeah, things get faster, and like I said, you know, it's a you know competition, and back then was yeah, that's a good point. I remember that you didn't need a car actually in
Right.
Loja back then because to go to the center you could perfectly walk. Yeah, now it's different. I couldn't manage for unfortunately without a car now
Sure.
because I have so many things. I'm also a father already, so I have to do this for the kids or for myself at my job or and so on. You know, helping my mother maybe do some favors, some errand,
Mhm.
and so it's more complicated without a car in Loja,
Sure.
I would say. Yeah. To the center right now, for example, it's impossible that you get out. It's
Right.
too many cars,
Yeah,
just
especially
too
during
many
rush
cars.
hour. Yeah.
No, no, it's very different in this sense. Good
Yeah.
that you touch the topic. I remember as a teenager with my friends from I used to live by the neighborhood close to the tower, you know, San Sebastian
Hmm. Yeah.
Plaza. And we used to go together, to the center and only walking, maybe buying some stuff. But it was not like there were too many people. The point is that we have also migration from the rural areas. That's a fact. And I can back this argument with even with numbers because I'm into this theories and into this knowledge because as a part of the agribusiness, where I work, we know this. We are studying this stuff. This movements of people.
Yeah.
Because in agribusiness, uh, this um, this program, this degree program, tries to teach the people how to use agriculture and make them business. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the problems is that the people in the rural areas in the fields are leaving the fields and going to the city. So it's a problem actually.
No, totally.
Yeah.
We've noticed that a lot as
On the
well.
design of the program,
Mhm.
it's written. We have a document. It's studied. We did a research to design the
Yeah.
program, and it's there to program with numbers.
Yeah, no, it is. It's kind of sad that dynamic that I mean,
Mm.
look, the whole world has, of course, has experienced that
Yeah.
sort of the migration from rural to urban. Um, but it's sad because yeah, it's happening in Ecuador now. It's been happening at least for the whole time I've been here. I don't know if it started before that. But what it seems like from the outside looking in, but having done real estate here for 10 years, um, the generational sort of life, right? That
Mhm.
goes back a long ways in terms of folks living on their land, being involved in agriculture, and having that sort of, that vida del campo, that sort of agricultural based lifestyle. The current generation, like the folks your age and younger, they want to work in the city. Like they want to come they want to get a degree and come work at the bank, or
Yeah.
come work, and so what you're seeing, like in our business, you see a lot of folks who are sort of retirement age or a little bit older, and their kids don't want to work the land anymore, and so they'll put the property on the market, or they've kind of got to figure out what they want to do because their kids aren't in, their kids are in the city working, doing, being an engineer, being, sort of whatever their desired profession is. But it is sad. It is a sort of change of life here.
But it's also because they are not learning, the knowledge of their parents. They just don't care because they are too influenced also by the media.
Yeah.
They have another. We were talking about also about this, influences of new stuff, which by the end of the day, they just make you another person. Because if you grown. Your family worked always in the fields. I think you have the chance to keep growing and taking advantage of the land, of the lands. But that's not happening anymore. Yeah. They're getting influenced also, and they don't care about the ancestral knowledge,
Right.
and then that's why they are also leaving. That's one point, but there's another factor also, and it's the certification. Yeah, and that's a fact also, and the governments, um, universities, and that's a teamwork also. It should work, keep working, on this. There are many projects, but the problem is that many are not working well, the fields. And we have this influence from the Humboldt current from the south, from Peru.
Okay.
That's why we have the Atacama. We have this dry influence, you know, and not so much evaporation. That's why Loja, naturally, we have a lot of dry forests, the areas of
Yeah.
Catacocha, Zapotillo.
Yeah.
They're very dry, but they are beautiful and very
Yeah.
diverse. It's only the techniques which have to be changed because they are um, there's a lot of monocultures also. Zapotillo,
Right.
for example, I know there are many ongoing projects, but they are hurting so much, the soil,
Yeah.
the soil.
Yeah.
The solution I see would be to keep, teaching, techniques related to agroecology, for example, using the ecology. That's part also of my study.
Mhm.
That's why I'm teaching also a couple of things um,
Yeah.
as a module
At the university.
at university.
So talk
As
about
a
that a little
support.
bit. How's that been for you?
The experience,
Mm.
or what I'm teaching.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Um, I teach especially how an ecosystem works in five subjects. Environmental education, but there's a technical part there. One unit where I teach some agroecology techniques. Yeah, I try to make them see how it works, which are the principles, and with some case studies where I can show really the benefits. I work on the online education, so that sometimes it's like a hindrance to for the practice, because
Right.
everything on the laptop. We have only 3 days in a semester where the students come to make their one practice and evaluate themselves.
Is that just brief interruption? Is that like an online program, or is that just how the university is doing it now? Or
It's part of the online unit or
okay,
department of the university.
okay.
That's where I'm working. Maybe I didn't specify very well.
Maybe you didn't. I
Yeah,
missed
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But yeah.
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 Because we have the presence and education and online education. I'm in part of the online
Got it.
education, and the students are different. Usually, our students are people who, have kids,
Right.
working in the fields. But they want to learn agribusiness, how to do business with agriculture.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful program, actually.
Nice.
There's always room to improve. Yeah, there may be some how this weak side maybe. Uh, the 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 point of teaching online is trying to reach these people who can't come to university,
Yeah.
and every day they don't have the money, they don't have the time.
Sure.
That's why we try to make it reachable or accessible for people, for
So
this kind of people.
so a lot of your students, it sounds like, are from the rural areas, are
Exactly.
still living
Yeah.
in the rural
Sure.
areas, and are still
Yeah.
involved in agriculture. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Sure.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Give us a little overview, since obviously this is your area of expertise. Give us a little overview, sort of, on some of the ecology, or the patterns that are kind of like what's going on in this region, or even in the country as a whole, if you want. But just kind of what's going on in this region. What are the things that are important to you? What are the things that people should know about? Is there anything there you want to share?
Yeah. I think we should be aware. Um, I believe in the climate change. I've seen it myself. I've seen rivers which are drying out, which were huge, volumes of water when I was a kid and teenager in my time in Samaratin Chip, and areas also in Loja which are desertifying, like I explained. So it's a reality, and in the country also, Chimborazo, the areas. My grandfather's from Chimborazo, from Riobamba, so I used to be there many times, and that's a fact that it's different now. People are having problems, conflicts, also the indigenous people for water.
Mm.
So a lot has to be done there. But I think we have to start with ourselves to get educate. I always say education is really the vehicle for development. In Germany, I've seen it. Germans are they developed a lot because they really invested in education and research, especially. So they make their own machines, but that's not like you have to know how to build them,
Yeah.
and that's with research and with technique. So I believe it's the same for Ecuador. We have a future. We have a lot of youth. Yeah, that's an advantage, I would say,
Hmm.
here in Ecuador. So we have to keep on this track, education and to be aware of the problems we have globally, but also locally. And climate change is a problem is there, and it's causing other problems, socially, economically. Yeah.
Sure. So some of those you mentioned earlier in the interview, sort of some of the technologies that you were interested in that you'd like to see Ecuador be more open to or involved with. Talk. What do you mean by that? What is that?
With technologies, well, I specialize in eco technologies.
Hmm.
That's more like using the ecology, yeah, with some engineering. I like a lot of river management.
Hmm.
And that's what I was doing with my Cuban friends. And that's basically a process of 3 steps. You do an analysis, a diagnosis of a river, you know, with some methodology. Then you make the design of the restoration, and then finally you do the restoration of the river using technology like but based on nature. For example, fish paths, fish paths with stones.
Fish paths.
Fish paths,
Yeah.
fish paths.
No,
It's like a channel for fishes.
but you mean like a pass,
They
like a
can
chain, like a
exactly
yeah,
where you have
a route.
maybe
Okay.
maybe a dam before or some
Ah,
obstacle,
sure, sure, sure.
you know, and so on.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or using, for example, plants to decontaminate the
Yeah,
soils. For
absolutely.
example, you can use. We have a lot of species here of poaceas from this family, poacea. All the the grasses, and they have a very special root system
Hmm.
which can help to retain and that's good for us because we don't have always the money, especially in towns to put how do you call it, um, a plant, sewage plant,
Hmm. Right.
yeah, which costs a lot of money.
Sure.
Maybe that's not feasible for us in little towns.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be just from a personal perspective, it would be amazing to see some of the larger scale agriculture here be a little bit more ecologically
Yeah.
friendly than it is currently. Um, okay, cool.
I'm going on weekend. I'm going to Cerro de Arcos. It's a beautiful place. You are very welcome. You want? Yeah, this coming weekend on Saturday. It's Cerro de Arcos by Saraguro. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
oh, right, you were mentioning.
And the Condor was observed there. Yeah, yeah. Because there was a census some time ago. By when I just came back from Germany, a friend of mine who started with me, he invited me. Hey, I'm doing a census, but I had something else to do and I couldn't go. But he sent me some pictures of the condor in Saraguro, in the Cerro de Arcos. And that's historic because the condor is only, the populations are only believed to be only in the north. So it's very historic because that means that they're recovering somehow, they're coming down again to the southern Andes, Ecuador. Yeah, it's cool.
Very cool.
It's cool.
So I definitely want to jump into some of the tours and things that you do. But before we do, what are some of the what are some of the coolest parts of Ecuador? What are some of the places people should visit if they're here?
There's so much, so much. It depends of course, what I like, what kind of ecosystem. But we have everything.
Yeah.
I always sometimes maybe I quarrel sometimes with my kids because you again and yeah, Ecuador has everything. But it's true. We have big mountains. We have snow also on the big mountains, Chimborazo and Ilinizas. They're beautiful places. Huicocha Lake, Otavalo, where you can see the people, selling their own crafts, handicrafts, and that's very related to the history. So they're very historic places, all of them. if you read the history of Ecuador, it's like stay in one place, you find so many things that you didn't even thought happened there. Yeah. But answering your question, for me, my favorites, I would put it this way: my favorite places, like Puyo in the
Yeah.
Amazon. Puyo,
That's my
definitely.
favorite town in the
Yeah, it's
Amazon. That is
awesome.
my favorite town.
Full of rivers, rivers everywhere because they are also located, on the foothills. Um, and it's the best conserved province.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
No, I
As
didn't.
far as if you see it on the map,
Yeah.
it's clearly now because they only have roads connected to Puyo, but deep to the province you only get by airplane.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's very very well conserved, and the indigenous also defended well the territory against the oil companies
Sure.
and gold. Although it's the concessions on the map of the concessions, it's almost so
Everywhere. Yeah.
everywhere. They're everywhere. They're concessed already.
Right.
We don't know it. So most of the people don't know that the territory is already sold. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they did a good job, and they protecting this territory. It's one of the most pristine provinces in the country.
Mhm.
Now, Mindo, it's another jewel for visitors. So come here.
Yeah.
Mindo, also Cuenca, if you want to see a very nice city. I mean, with a colonial time, you want to get transported back in time. That's also nice. Beautiful parks where you can have a coffee, have a chat with your friends. Awesome. And Zamora, my favorite place is Pangi. It's
Yeah.
not so well known,
Yep.
but if you walk around, it's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. Huge trees. It's it's like a mix of a very basal tropical rainforest with a little bit, some little hills, still some influence of the Andes,
Yeah.
but you can see more bigger vegetation there. It's like
Yeah.
you're going deep, and then you're getting really into the tropical rainforest.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit because I know you have another business where you help folks sort of explore, I guess, the southern part of the country, the Amazonian region, perhaps in particular. But for people who are looking for adventures or looking to go in and check out these areas, safely with a true expert and so on and so forth, you offer that service. So let's talk a little bit about some of that.
Yes, well, I offer my services, a lot of ecology, a lot of that's like my slogan. It's not only fun. Fun is included, of course, but knowledge. I'm a teacher,
Yeah.
so I like to teach. And I was watching some interview with one of the best tourist guides in the world, and he said, if you want to be a good tour guide, you definitely have to like to teach. You have to be a teacher if you want to be and complete. You have to take care of many things of the visitors, yeah, and put them first. So yeah, with me is knowledge about especially Zamora Chinchipe and Loja, where that's where I have my tours.
Mhm.
I do my tours, and I like I can take big groups, but I prefer couples uh, or three. But smaller groups, it's because I can get them, get the tour very, very, very worked out.
Yeah. Customized. Yeah.
Customized.
Um, okay. And so what are some of the sort of coolest or most interesting experiences you've had guiding people into some of these places that maybe are, not as well traveled for tourists who come to Ecuador?
Um, Getting recommended.
Right.
Getting recommended.
Sure.
It's not long. I got it before as I want to clear this. I have now my license since 2022 would be. my license as a tour guide. But before I used to guide, just like an amateur with other guides. I helped them because I wanted to learn also some stuff. But answering, my best experiences would be like um, knowing that the people are satisfied with what I'm teaching them, and by the end of the tour, sometimes getting compliments. That's nice. I think that means that you are doing well in your job. You get to. I like to bombard them with many stuff, cultural, everything. I do it like I like to do it like tailored,
Yeah.
That's why I say like I show you what you want to see, Are you interested in the jungles, rainforests? Are you interested in the mountains, or are you interested in the coast? Not so much, but especially highlands and the Amazon. That's my strong point.
Yeah. And are these can these be anywhere from 1 day to a week, or what is the normally kind of the time frame?
Especially on weekends. It's because of my planning, my time availability. Sure. Especially on weekends. Could be 1 day or 2 days with camping also could be included also.
Nice.
But it all depends on the visitors. I show them what they want to see.
All right, very cool. Well, guys, if you've made it this far, please put a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and if you'd like to see an abundant living adventure, we'll get Carl's 250-pound behind up there with us and go for a hike and see some cool experiences with Ricardo. Put it in the comments, adventure with Ricardo, and we will do our best to make that happen. Last question, is there anything I have not covered that you'd like to talk about? Anything you'd like to share that we haven't covered so far today?
Yeah, maybe the point now which keep us by the time, and these times in the news, it's about probably all this criminality wave and stuff. Well, our region has always had some good call for being a society where, especially Loja and Zamora, areas where are relatively really quiet, and the people are very respectful. Sometimes we get some influences from outside. That's probably one of the causes why sometimes there are some changes. But in general, I think that there's not really a reason to worry about it. So in life, you have to also risk and not to hear so much, negative stuff.
Yep.
So to there, nature is waiting here for you, and up there, pumas, deers, tapirs, many chincha forests, lianas, and epiphytes and many chances to do beautiful photography. So not so much fear, just do it.
I mean, that's like a core message of ours, which we didn't prep you for, and we really agree. And I thank you. I forgot to talk about the safety stuff going on. That was not in the script, but we certainly agree. So, well, again, Ricardo, I really appreciate your time. It's been really interesting interview. We have to do a part 2 sometime and deep dive on like the ecology of the region and the weather and all the different stuff, because there's not my expertise at all. I don't even know how to ask those questions well, but I'd love to learn more from you sometime. But again, thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you too. It was great. I really felt really welcome here, and it's always nice to talk this way, just naturally. Great.
I'm gonna bother your wife at some point, see if she wants to do an interview. So hopefully we'll bring that at some point if she's open to it. But
sure, yeah. I know for sure she would like that.
Cool. Cool. Well, guys, again, thanks for tuning in. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
See you in Ecuador.
If you're interested in real estate properties, all of our property videos will now be uploaded on a different channel. Please click the link in the description down below.